Welcome back to Broken and Smoking. I'm Tyson, just like the chicken. Well, I picked me up a new little, I guess it is a project. I didn't want a project, but that's what I could find. But I sold my third wheel, and I've been looking for something to replace my third wheel. And most of the time, I'll pick up something and I just drive it. Well, I've been wanting something for a while, and I just finally went ahead and bit the bullet and bought one. Went a few hours one way to pick it up and got it back home. And it's in decent shape. You know, it's a lot better shape than what I've been seeing. So I'm hoping I can get my kids more involved, off them electronics, even though I'm here holding the camera. But more off of playing games and stuff and more hands-on stuff. And they're already complaining that they can't get attached to nothing because I'll sell it. Well, I mean, you buy it, you sell it. This in here, if they can get out here and help me, create some sentimental attachments to it, I probably wouldn't sell it. So let's see if we can do that. This is what we got, a 1976 Cherokee Chief. Obviously, it's missing the side glass here. I did look that up to see what that would cost and how hard it would be to find before I even bought this thing. $100 shipped to the house, used one. I'm good with that. I'm actually kind of surprised with that. The other thing I can tell you right off the bat is this upper door hinge. The pin is obsolete. It left the chat. As soon as I open this door, it's going to drop. So I do know I'm going to have to either find a pin, make a pin, or something for this door. There's rust holes here in the door, and there's a rust hole right here in the door. Underneath is fine. On the inside where the panel goes, there's a rust hole about a quarter size. The rockers are good and solid, outer and inners. Of course, about all the Cherokees are rusted out up here and down through here and everything else, but this in here has got a little bit here. I can probably actually come in here and trim a lot of this and wouldn't even know that was existing. Of course, the custom whatever wheel that came off of, and I do have the other two rally style, I guess they're GMs, that goes on it. Backside here, same thing. We got a custom radiator gas cap. Keeps the water out, I guess, for the most part. Probably not, probably catches it. Tailgate and back hatch still works. It needs felt. It needs some attention. Needs some love, but it ain't rusted out nowhere. Got the hitch on the back. Missing the lens here. Oh, it's loose too. Glad that stayed on the trip home. And another thing for the trip home, we went through 3 tornadoes and 2 hurricanes in like an hour and a half. I ain't kidding you. This was down in South Mississippi, and all them hurricanes was coming through. It was rough. More rust here. Surfaced here is no holes. This door here is the worst door. And what I mean by worst, I mean the insides here. I know the lighting ain't good. It's done, well, the water's held, has rusted out the overlap, which doesn't affect the outside of it, but up here we got some rust through, and right here on this corner there's some rust through. I'm not 100% certain yet if I'm going to replace this door or repair it. Depends if I can probably find one. I really didn't want to have to try to paint this, but after looking, it's been repainted some point in its life. See, there's like a dark blue and there's like a lighter blue on top of it. So this lighter blue, I mean, it might have matched that dark blue at one time until it got faded out, but you can tell it's been painted over. Looks like some kind of single stage stuff. And they might have actually taped off the vinyl on the black, because up under this is dark. Can't really tell in door jambs. But then again, I don't know. It might be something like that they did in the factory back then. I'm no expert. I know a little bit about these. I know it's AMC, and you know how AMC is like, they're going to pick a little bit out of this pile, that pile, and this pile, then they combine them all. There's one of the extra wheels. It came with a GM style HEI distributor. It's got a new carburetor. I don't know if it's Chinese or an actual Ford Motorcraft. The keys are missing. I done tried to drill that out, obviously with the drill here, when we got there, because we couldn't steer it. Steering wheel was locked. So I'm gonna have to get the ignition out. But for right now, my cousin popped the hood and was like, yeah, let's disconnect the steering shaft from the gearbox. I was like, I'm dumb. Didn't even think about it. But that's what we did to get it winched up on a trailer. Interior ain't too totally bad. It stinks. You can tell it's been setting up. Guy told me it's been setting up since 06, I think he said. Nothing really going on up here. The razor grill has been pushed in. I'm hoping I can try to bend that out a little bit, make it, you know, we're saving the dollars here. We're going to try to. Then we get under the hood, we got a 360. A 360, oh, and where the battery's set, you know, we got issues there. So issues here is, it got a little spicy. We got some melted wiring. Looks like the vacuum canister back here got a little hot. A little hot up here on the hood. That's why why the paint on the other side of the hood's missing, I'm sure. But all in all, it's here, it's complete. It's something to work with. I mean, the windshield washer is still here. Overflow container. Radiator's in the back. I'm sure that evaporator ain't no good, but if we ever get to the point to trying the AC out, maybe we can rebuild this and try to get the AC going. But I'm talking, you know, months in the future here. With the GM HEI, I really don't know what wiring we'll need. It looks like the alternator wiring's in there. He was getting ready to pull it. He said, I think he said it was number, if I'm thinking right, 1. I'm no expert and I'm learning as I'm going. I think this is number 1357248. I think he said number 4 over here has got a stuck valve. If it's a stuck valve, that's great. I just hope it ain't burnt or rusted up. Or, yeah, burnt or not rusted, bent. There we go. If it's stuck, we can free that. And I'm hearing an echo. So that's where we at with the engine. Looks like we got some sort of strap here. We'll have to check into that later. Keeps the critters out of stuff, you know. I haven't checked the, oh, it's got it. It's good and black, so that's a good sign. At least it ain't milkshake. These things have turbo 400s in them, for the ones that don't know. And I'm sure if we get it going, the good old classic bang in reverse will probably happen. Man, that transmission fluid is like clean. Huh. That's a good sign. Put that back. You know, when you go to look at these things, you try to look at everything, but sometimes you just can't do it. You forget about it. And me being me, in a hurry, trying to beat that hurricane, or tornado cane, I guess you could call it, I forgot a couple of things. Another thing I didn't notice is this hood right here has got a hole in it. This one's got a hole in it, but I don't know what caused it. It's like it almost arced out on something. Don't really look like it's rusted through or rusted out to cause that hole. It's like something, and the way that battery sets, I bet that's exactly what happened. Somebody had a tall battery, shut the hood, top post came up and arced right out. Huh. We're like car investigators now. And if that's the case, if that's what happened, let's see. Battery sets at an angle, which would come up. Yeah, bet that's what happened. Then if that was the case, maybe what happened to that wiring. Well, we might be figuring stuff out. Let's get this shut. And see, there's the hot spot. And there's the two there and there. There's an awfully big battery if that's what happened, but I guess they could have had one laying around, and that's what they tried to do. But that's what it is. And I guess my first step is try to get these tires to hold air so I can get it off the trailer. There ain't no way I'm going to be able to get it in that shop. I highly, seriously doubt. So I may have to end up parking it under a shade tree just to see if we can get it running. Then try to drive it in the shop. Because you know, my shop is messy as usual. Well, the Can-Am's in the way right now. And of course, I've been scrapping everything. This red truck over here, I've been parting it out. Been scrapping again, getting all that crap out of the way. All that stuff I done so I could get the money to buy this. Actually, you know, I'm trying to do this without using the old 40-hour week check. Do this with the shop money, that I call it. And that's what I'm hoping to keep this budget in. And I mean budget, we might talk about that a little bit later. We'll see. Well, let me get this sucker unstrapped. Well, of course, as soon as you get started, what happens is it rains. It ain't terrible rain. It's just a steady, slow rain. I mean, and it's humid. So I'm going to sit right here in the AC and wait till that calms down. Then I think I am going to try to get it in the shop. I think I can hook the Can-Am to the front of it and just drag it through like a maze, through all my junk, and come out the back. At least that's the thought in my head anyways. Golly, it is freaking humid out here. It's probably in the mid-80s, but I mean, it feels like it's 105. Got this in here right behind me, and believe it or not, I was able to get it right through here and pull it with a Can-Am. Of course, this wasn't here, and zigzag and all them parts wasn't there, and get the Can-Am out. So I'm happy about that. Next step is obviously seeing if the thing runs, because there ain't no sense in putting no more money into it if it don't run. And I'm going to be flip-flopping back and forth. I got to have this fan on And who knows, it might take me 3 days, it might take me 3 weeks. But as soon as I get ready to try it, with me piddling on it off and on, I mean, it's hot now. I remind you, I had to go change shirts just then. I'll get back with you. All right, got my fan off. Got it quiet. I'm getting ready to fire this thing up. Went ahead and took the belts off everything because, you know, we're not going to run a water pump or anything like that. This is disconnected. Don't want to pump the oil everywhere. Make a bigger mess than what I already got. It had a book in the seat, but then again, I mean, you can look this up online just as easy. But I think I got this in the right location where I used to have anyways. I put my number 1 here and I wired it up clockwise. I think that's right. Same thing as Chevrolet, 1-843-6572. So I only timed it by what, if you can see down here, there's a mark on that, and there's some numbers up there. I got it close. So that's what I'm banking off of. There we go. So it's either going to be top dead center or bottom dead center. It's a 50-50 shot, and this is my first attempt. What was that? Oh, used to be a good spark plug. To me, it sounds like it's probably 180 out. So let me flip that, then I'll turn you back on. Okay, so I unbolted it, pulled it, rotated the rotor 180, dropped it back in there, tightened her up. And I'm already sweating with the fan off. So let's get this party started. Back hot again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Might be already out of gas. I might have to hook an electric pump up to it. And here's your tech tip. These little snot suckers, they work great for priming these carburetors. Stick it in there and give it a go. Earlier. So close, but yet so far away. Man, I really need to hook up a fuel pump. Something to hold that choke open, maybe, because it seems like it's hooked up. Here's a Sharpie. that way. That's the sweet spot, I think. Better let that starter cool down a minute. Go ahead and unplug this. And I think I'm going to find my electric fuel pump and rig something from the gas can to that carburetor. That way we can run it for longer than a few seconds. Although we can't run it for long because, you know, the water pump ain't turning. I had to turn the fan back on. You just got to deal with it. Couldn't find my water or my fuel pump, so I got me a water bottle full of water or gas. We'll give her a good healthy dose. Lay that over here out of the way. That there. Alright, let's try this again. Calm down, you can do it. Come to life. It won't stay bad. It could be completely wore out. Rings could be seized up on it, not creating enough compression to even kick it off. There's a lot of variables. I probably should have soaked the cylinders down, but I didn't want to pull the plugs. They's already in there, and that guy put new plugs in it. You know, I'm being lazy. I really don't want to shove no oil down the carburetor because that's just going to make it smoke even worse if it smokes. I'd like to see what it would do first try. Seems like the carburetor's out of gas again. think it's full because I seen it come out of that top. I guess that would be an overflow. When I mean by top, I mean by this piece is spit out. I think my battery's getting weak now. Imagine that. Guess I'm gonna let everything cool down a minute. Let the battery charge a little bit. Then we'll try again. We're on day 2 of messing with this Cherokee. This time, I did a little bit more than tinkering. I went elbow deep. We're getting down to the situation. So first glance, the carburetor, that cheap one's right over there, and I noticed it was flooding itself, yada yada. I found this in the back, looked at it. We're gonna see about it. I will pick up a rebuild kit because I'd rather have this one than that cheap new one, because you know, issues. We'll throw that in the old ultrasonic cleaner and give it a try. But then I went and I started compression testing. I was getting 60 psi across the board. I popped the valve covers. I noticed, well, before I done the compression test, I popped the valve covers. Found 2 push rods bent, which I did the right thing and carried them over that vise and straightened them up, you know, just to see how this is going to run for now. And if I ain't mistaken, they're the same length as a stock small block Chevy, which I've got somewhere. I'll have to find them. Put it all back together, still the same thing. Every once in a while to pop off, then that'd be it. So then I put the compression gauge on it, and it wasn't doing nothing. I mean, other than the 60 pounds across everything. I mean, it was holding consistent everywhere. So with it holding 60 pounds, I'm hoping none of the valves or anything like that are bent, because, you know, I got the timing cover off, which I destroyed, by the way, because, I mean, yeah, it's over. It didn't want to come off. So I'm going to have to pick up one of those. What was I leading into? Oh, I found the problem. It's way, and I mean way at a time. Right, let me find it. Right there's the timing dot for the crankshaft right there. Here's the timing dot for the cam, way over here. And as you can see, this chain is well, if I can get my light to stay, hold the cameras. Way, you know. I mean, it's extra tight. Bump that back to where it looks like it's center. And I mean, it's probably 2 or 3 pounds, 2 or 3 teeth jumped. So yeah, I'm really hoping I didn't bend any valves. But, find my rag. But with that being said, holding 60 pounds across the board, I mean, once I get it back in time, I might have to end up taking this engine out and going through it. At least taking the heads off. The engine itself, when I primed it, I was getting 75 pounds of oil pressure from the drill to my manual gauge that I got hooked up here. Well, there went something. And I'm hoping everything else is all right. I thought I was done, but you know, curiosity kills the cat sometimes. I went ahead and pulled this wore out one off, lined everything back up, and hopefully it didn't jump, and I compression tested it again. We got 120 PSI right there right now, or over 120. So I'm very happy with that. And my suspicion, I'm blowing sweat. My suspicion, I've got a jaw full of chew, is correct. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them parts ordered. That's gonna conclude this first one on the Cherokee. I guess I am gonna have to spend some money to see if it runs. Although, probably the most expensive thing is gonna be that timing cover that I destroyed. But I'll check the eBays out and try to find something. And I'm gonna get a timing chain. Well, I appreciate y'all watching, and stay tuned and see how this works out for me.